Hi, this is Brent, and welcome to Theoretically Practical. This week we got a little project behind me. This is I believe it's between a 1968 and 73 200-4 dynamic dynahoe. I think it's a 4D model. So let's take a look at it. This is a 16-ton machine, and it came a friend of a friend. It came here in their property. It's been sitting for questionable number of years, but certainly more than 3 and probably more than 10. Yeah, she's a real beauty. She's pretty from afar, but far from pretty. But I'll just put it this way. It's quite the bucket. You know, I'm like 5'8", 5'9". The bucket's here. So this is a hell of a machine. So we're gonna look around it, and you'll notice most of the cylinders look pretty good. There's a little light scoring on a couple of them. It's not too concerning. It's got one new tire on it, which is a good sign, I think. So the coolest part is yet to come, and that is this bad boy right here. This is a Detroit diesel 2-stroke 471, which means it is 4 cylinders, 71 cubic inches per cylinder, and it is a 2-stroke, and it is supercharged. And you can take a look right there. This is the supercharger unit, and if that looks a little familiar, if you notice, like on hot rods, you'll see a YN 671 or 871 or even a 471 supercharger. Well, that 471 from YN is because it originally came off this, and that was the size Detroit diesel 2-stroke diesel it was meant for, because, you know, that makes a lot of sense. This one's had the hood off, but the intake and exhaust are covered, so I have some pretty high hopes for it. It's definitely got a lot of hydraulic fluid leak issues over the years, which are just awesome. But I think somebody took the drive shafts off too. Oh, that's good. It is 4-wheel drive. I think somebody took the oil cooler off of it at one point, which could explain this. It also seems like a lot of the oil came from the top. So we're gonna really take a look at this. We're gonna get up on top of it. I'll show you some more, and then we're gonna just lubricate it up today and just see if the rack is stuck, because we might have to come back with the right tools and pull out all the injectors and clean them up, because this thing, free them up, because this thing does not have an injection pump. Each individual injector is cam powered, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. So here's the top view. This is this kills the fuel flow, and this is pretty much stuck, so that'll be something to get freed up. The cable's also pretty well blown apart. Who knows what the radiator condition's in. This is the throttle right here, and then all the reason why you can't see any injector lines, though, is because they're under this cover. So we'll pop that off and see what we can do. Well, hey, something's not seized on it. I almost spoke too soon. Well, there we go. Hey, that doesn't look too bad. So the big thing that I've been told to be careful about in these by watching other videos is this rack. Oh, so if you see that move back and forth, that says that all these injectors are free, and that is a really good sign, because on a lot of the revivals I've watched on this, you'll look in there and those won't move. The whole rack won't move. So, I mean, considering that this is all stuck and that's what controls this rod, what I will do is disconnect this so that we can give it a little bit of throttle to start it. But wow, that's the best news I've had all day. I'm also going to just take PB Blast and just douse pretty much everything. I'm sure we're going to find some interesting things happening. I believe this is the air pump, which hopefully pumps air. There's a transmission back under there. Yeah, so we'll go take a look inside, but that's fantastic news. We'll have to take a look at why this is like this. And we'll go in the cab. And it's not terrible in here. The controls are, you know, disconnected. But all the hydraulic controls are free. I'm assuming this was meant to be the ignition, but yeah, we're gonna ignore that. Yeah, the RPM meter goes all the way up to 2,500, and it only has, it's a fresh 8,500 hours on the machine. So it's basically brand new. And all these lines, oh yeah, everything seems to be free. So I wasn't meaning to try to start it today, but the injector racks are loose, which I was expecting to be a battle. So I got to look under it and see if anything's disconnected. So it's going to, you know, put like 40 gallons of hydraulic fluid out as fast as you can. But if that's not the case, I don't see a good reason why we couldn't fire it up today. This is, you saw him in the excavator video. This is my partner in crime, Gabe.
How you doing?
So he's the one that found this, and this should be...
we knew we had to get it done.
Exactly. So, you know, so there's a lot of like new hydraulic hoses on this, which lets me know that, you know, it can't have been, I don't think it was anything major that shut this down. I do notice that the U-joints underneath are disconnected, which is something for sure. Hopefully that means that the rear end isn't buggered. But even if it is, you know, because the guy whose property this is so nice about the whole thing. I mean, if all we can do is get it to move and get it off his property, we'll do that, you know. So we'll see. Yeah, so we're gonna set up and we're gonna try to jumpstart this because it has a pretty new starter in it. So I'm feeling entirely more confident than I was 5 minutes ago. So I just noticed in the cab here you got your starting fluid. That's always a great sign. You got your parking brake right here, which I don't think does anything. I don't know what that is supposed to be, but whatever it is, it's some, oh, it might be an air brake valve. Maybe that's a pneumatic valve. That's free anyways. There's this guy here, but not much that's actually connected to anything. And to be fair, we don't actually need much of it to do anything to start this, just to see if it starts. We're definitely be a lot more time into getting it running 100%, but it's pretty good. I mean, even the seat, yeah, plush. So this is exciting to me. I think this is the biggest tractor I will have ever driven by a factor of, I don't know, probably 10. So hopefully when I jump the solenoid, something will happen. But nothing happens. Okay, well, when I said I was super pleased about the condition of the injector rack not being frozen, I hadn't seen the starter, and it looked pretty new down there. But took out this part of it, the part that makes the connection, and you notice like these little spots here is what you'd expect if it's working well. I think someone burnt this starter to the frickin' ground, unfortunately, trying to get this thing started or trying to get it to turn over. And look how they put so much heat in it. You can see the discoloration on the backside, which is not great. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, and we don't have the right tools with us to pull it off. I think I need a 12-point socket for that there. And then there's another socket, and there's my tools falling there. I think there's only 2 bolts holding that on, but there's probably a third one because it's impossible to get at, and that's where they'd put a third one. So yeah, that's probably all we're gonna do today. There is the guy whose property this is. There is a dead starter that looks like it's been at the bottom of the ocean in his garage, but I might grab that because that one might be better than this one, because I've also tried to put jumper cables right to there, and I get a slight spark but no spin. So yeah, it's not looking ideal. So but it is what it is. And yeah, we'll figure it out if it's figure outable. We might try to put vice grips on the end of that nose there and see if we can't turn it over at all, because if it seized, this might be the saddest episode of Theoretically Practical ever. But I'm hoping not. I don't want to be sad about this, because I want mayhem, and this thing can make some mayhem. All right, so I'm back here. I'm back at the shop. I got the starter motor. As you can see, all the pieces perfectly aligned, all never to be lost, for that giant machine. Interestingly enough, I thought the starter motor was going to be cooked, but if you look at the commutator, it's just baked. But nothing's burned. Nothing's burned on the inside. It's just mostly dirty. But I think the thing that happened that may have saved it, I guess, is that the brushes were all jammed in the brush holders, and they're not even worn out. They have plenty of meat on them. So I'm going to take this into work and sandblast it, I think, which I normally wouldn't do, but I don't know. I think it's the best way to clean this up. I'm just going to sandblast it really carefully, really focus on the areas like that to see if I can fix it. I'm still not positive that the starter solenoid is any good. I can't necessarily get to actuate the thing yet, but I haven't lost hope on that. This I'm just going to put in my lathe. I'm going to sand this just to take the highest bits of rust off it, and I'll polish this off, because right now I'm sure there's smeared over carbon connecting all the bars together. So, but you can see there's no spot in particular that's deep. I just think that the brushes were barely touching it. So, you know, and this is a beefy starter. So I think cleaning that up will get it to work. I wouldn't say this is the long-term solution for this machine. Well, right about now, we're going to show you cylinder 1. And that looks fine. It looks beautiful. You can see it's these are through the air box ports, because it's a 2-stroke diesel. The whole top area of that is pressurized by the supercharger. And then cylinder 2 is above the ports, but from up top, I can tell that the valves are loose. So the exhaust valves aren't open. So that one should be okay, I think. Cylinder 3 is the problem child. You see, it's kind of like halfway open. The exhaust valves were open. It's a little crusty in there. You know, I don't know. That one's giving me pause. And then cylinder 4 looks just like cylinder 2. And again, the valves seem loose up top, which to me says they're closed. So probably all the water went into cylinder 1. I did pour about a quart of Marvel Mystery Oil down the exhaust, because I couldn't get it much more than that. I'm going to pull all the injectors out and fill the cylinders right to the brim with Marvel Mystery Oil. I know it's possible to do an in-frame rebuild on this. I don't know that I want to go that far with this machine, given all the other issues it has, but it's super cool. So you guys will have to let me know about that. Tell me, should I run away, you know, or should I dig in deep? This is definitely the largest weight of project I've ever taken on of this sort. So, yeah, but and you may not see this video, this machine, till a week or 2 or 3, because I am just letting things sit with the Marvel Mystery Oil and hoping that magic happens, but knowing that it won't. So, but yeah, this starter was actually really easy to get in and out. I wish I had brought my camera over. I only had my cell phone to take pictures. I forgot my GoPro, and we were already there, and that place is freaking Tixylvania. So that's always good. They're dog ticks, so I guess that's better. I don't like any ticks. But, yeah, so like I said, I wouldn't normally sandblast this, but I don't think there's any way to get it to free up easily inside. I don't know if you can see how much. I literally had to beat these brushes out with a hammer. But they're all plenty. Again, none of them are worn so far. Not that I would really have anything against replacing them. I just don't want to put a penny in this thing till I can turn the motor over. If the motor could bar over, I would be willing to spend, you know, at least $500 just playing with it. But it hasn't yet. I did check the oil level. It's a little high, which probably means there's some water in there, but it's not like, it's not gallons of water. It's quarts of water, if anything. And I mean, I've seen some people resurrect some old machines with gallons of water in the crankcase. It didn't seem to bother it. Well, not instantly anyways. So yeah, so it seemed like a relatively new starter, and I think somebody just sat there on the starter and just held the key until it burnt out, or even that it's possible that it wasn't even turning the last time somebody tried to use it, and I don't know. So that's about it. I am going to try to take this port off and see if I can take this part off so I can test the solenoid. Oh, there we go. So I can test the solenoid completely separately. So, all right, guys. So last time I was here, I did not have my camera because I am a bad YouTuber. But one thing I did is I poured a quart of Marvel Mystery Oil down the exhaust, and it came out here. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm going to pop these covers off and show you the backside of all 4 cylinders, and you can see that one of these things is not like the other. So I'll pull that off. So if we look behind door number 1, we can hopefully see the side of the piston. It all looks clean. You can see the ring, everything looks good. Door number 2, you can see the side of the piston. I believe this means the piston is up high enough that the exhaust valves are closed, so no problem. Door number 4 is the same, but door number 3, it's not a great door. This is after soaking for about 3 days with Marvel Mystery Oil all through it. I talked to a few people I know that know about these things and got a couple different opinions, and I'm gonna pull the head. I don't know if that's a smart idea. One of my guys said, just bar it over. But I tried that and it didn't work. So, but I haven't tried that hard. So today I'm gonna try to pull the head on it. So I'm gonna try to take the exhaust off, which may be a mistake, but I feel like I have to do it. And, you know, disconnect some stuff here and just start going through it. I'm kind of hoping that I can just disconnect the coolant log here. I don't think there's coolant this high up in the engine anymore. There's some in the radiator, but not a lot. If I can disconnect it here and pop that off after I pop this off, you know, I'm trying to take off as little as possible. I did just watch Danger Marine's video on taking the head off his Detroit diesel, so I know that probably that bolt there, even though it doesn't look like it goes into the head, probably does. So, I don't know. When I was at home, the idea of taking the head off seemed so much simpler and straighter forward, but I'm here now. Oh, well, that's probably why the number 1 cylinder isn't bad, because it's probably had a terrible exhaust leak, but that probably means the exhaust will come off. So, well, now we can see why the number 1 cylinder didn't have problems. And as you see, the end of that one is cracked off. So instead of being able to, and I think the end's still there, so I might even be able to get it and weld it back on. But instead of being able to pool up water and get up into those areas, it just ran out because it was cracked off. So, and there's all the Mystery Oil I poured in. So I guess those valves are definitely closed, hopefully. Unless they're not. Oh, you gotta have a rock on your engine. This is the bit that I'm not thrilled about, but we'll see. Doesn't actually, it really looks like just a trickle of water was ever able to make it up in there, and nothing in there, and that looks like the worst of the bunch, but that cylinder should have the valves closed. So look, if it sounds like I'm trying to justify everything being fine, you're not wrong at all. But you know, keep it to yourself, buddy. All right. So, I think the next step is to try to get these off if I have the right tool with me, which I probably don't, because I'm kind of only have socket wrenches with me. I do have 10,000 black flies with me though, you know, keeping me company. So I actually did manage to get all the injectors freed up. Just took a liberal application of using a great big wrench as a hammer, and they just need like a quick snapping force. So all those are free, which is good. So I think the next step here is pull these out. I have bags going, each with a number for the cylinder on to keep all the stuff in the same place. I don't know that it matters, but it's always a good idea to do that when you can. And I think that's all I could do today. I need a 9/16 wrench to get that off. I need a 9/16 wrench to get the supercharger box off. And I only brought sockets with me, and only metric wrenches because, you know, why not, right? It's probably metric. It's from the 60s and American made. Metric bolts all over the place. So anyways, I'm gonna pull those all out, put the cover back on. I'm gonna put a trash bag over the exhaust to keep it, well, I don't know if it's any worse than what it was before, but and just let it sit some more. I did put the bar back on the front, but I really, it's way down there and it's really hard to get in there and get a straight shot and be able to pull on it. So, and to be fair, I'd like to get the head off and just take some sandpaper, do a hillbilly hone on it, and hopefully get somewhere with this. So this is I've never undertaken anything like this in my life. I've never worked on an engine like this in my life. So if you want to watch you know, you want to just watch a guy flail way above his league, you know, keep watching. But I think I'll get there. It is a dead simple engine. I did find out it was basically, I thought some of the stuff was seized, you know, the shutoff and the throttle, and they were all just the cables are seized. So, you know, it's going to need new cables, but those are, well, these are generic anyways, so I don't really care. So yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. I really wanted to see the inside of the cylinders to show you that like 3 out of 4 of them were great, and hopefully that it makes sense to keep working on it, but I can't. Wow, these black flies are atrocious. So yeah, before I start throwing things and talking to myself in tongues, I'm going to call it for this week. I'm happy I got the injectors out, though. I'm happy I got the exhaust off. It's funny. I thought I'd have no problem getting the head off, but I thought getting the exhaust manifold off would be the real trick, and that just came right off. I'm a little disappointed that a piece is broken off, but it's probably under there somewhere. I think it was there when I started jostling it, so I should be able to find it somewhere and, you know, glue or weld it back on. It doesn't have to be perfect for sure, or maybe find another one if this thing starts running well. I wouldn't mind putting some money into it, but it's got to run first. There's also other issues with the exhaust. I mean, that's not really a factory job, is it? So, so given the price, you know, the get it out of my field price, I think it's worth the effort. And also because this is literally the largest backhoe ever commercially sold. Ever. There have been bigger ones, don't get me wrong, but this is the only one that you could go to like a dealer and just buy, is my understanding of it. And the cab inside is good, and there's just so much good stuff here. And also I really desperately want to hear a Detroit 471 run. So, you know, if you think I'm nuts, let me know. If you think I should keep going, also let me know. Like, comment, subscribe to see more stuff like this. I will be back to the Defender pretty soon. I might actually have to do 2 episodes in a week for a few weeks to kind of keep both projects moving along. I'm not really under a time crunch with this guy here, but also it just seems like for something like this, you know, just as long as I keep making forward progress, it'll get done. So, yeah, most of this will get deleted anyways, because I just babble on constantly. So at least the valves aren't stuck. I was concerned about that, but the motor's still stuck, which sucks, but whatever.